Greetings everyone, here's Lodrik, and this is our game 1, the Pacific Admirals Edition, in the match against Dojo. Now, today we will watch the battle phase of 24th January 1942. And I really don't remember what happened last time. I only know we had the air battle of area of Sydney, and we entered Singapore in our first attempt to take the city. A tactical victory, but no really complete force to. We don't force Dojo's units to surrender and take the city in the first battle, but it was tactical. Okay. We suffer losses, but most of our units only had a disabled unit, not killed unit. So let's start and check. Of course, we will have a lot of bombing in China again. But maybe we can enjoy some navy battle or something unexpected. This is a success. The aura of our forces was enough to conquer this small Dutch island near Singapore. It saves some time if you can get some the base for free. Why not? It will not change anything. You get 1 or 2 points, but it's always nice. Here we can see that we are sweeping more and more mines. This is one of the bigger problem if you want to attack Balikpapan. There are simply a lot of mines already at the start of the game, and if maybe the allied player he can add here even more. But we lost one mine. Yeah, I think one minesweeper we lost, and one battleship hit a mine, and the damage of the battleship was not really so great. I think 1 or 2 weeks in the shipyard is enough to fix everything. A lot of mines. We must get rid of it so that our support units can land here, and we can bring base forces and engineers to fix the base and start the oil production for the Japanese Navy. Looks like no Navy engagement in the night, and no real Navy engagement at day, and more minesweeping. Okay. And here we can see now an attempt of an American submarine to sink a glorious Japanese cargo ship, but of course it was only an attempt, not a success. But the consequence is more or less that we must ramp up the security around the Navy base of Rabaul. This is, of course, the allied player will try to bring his submarines nearby, and we have simply to set up enough submarine hunter groups and Navy air scouts and everything what is possible to intercept and interdict all of these attempts. Okay, this is now the second turn of sweeping the airspace of Sydney. You can see our zeros. Last turn we had a kill ratio of 1 to 6. Let's hope that we can get something similar now. It's I mean, from my point of view, it is more or less to, if we now can damage or kill 50% of his airframes, then he have less, and if he have simply not enough airframes to train his pilots. I don't know how many airframes from the P40E he can get per turn, per month, but I'm for sure that he have more pilots and airframes. I mean, it's maybe more, the Allies have maybe the problem that they don't have enough airframes, at least at the beginning, the first 12 months. The Japanese are running very fast out of pilots. If you want, you can really produce a lot of airframes with the Japanese. But you have two limitations. First, the limitation of air wings. Only the Navy lights in zero. The carrier based stuff you can increase if you want the group size. But you also can run out of pilots. The backup pool of Japanese pilots is not so great, at least not compared to the Americans. The Americans, they are not only Americans, but I think there's the American Navy, American Army, then there are the British, then there are the Dutch, then there's the Australian, New Zealand, the Canadian, and every nation has their own pilot pools. So yeah, the Allies, they are not so flexible. Every nation is at the end one pool, and you cannot bring, I think, Canadian pilots to American pool, but the total amount of pilots is for the Allies simply much greater than the Japanese. The Japanese only have Navy and Army. And if I remember right, the Navy get maximum, I think, 150 pilots per month. This is the maximum. And the Army, I think, get 170 or 75, not much more, per month. So if you can keep your losses less than, let's say, 200 per month for the Japanese, and if the losses are equal split, 100 Army guys, 100 Navy guys, then I think everything is fine. But 100 pilots per month for each army group, it sounds first a lot, but I think if you have really a ongoing battles can drain out your wings. And I think you need also a lot of pilots for all support equipment, Navy search, Navy patrol. All these units, you need a lot of Navy search, you need submarine hunters. All these airplanes also need pilots. So, I mean, this is a big part of the game. Logistic, decisions, and also with the Japanese industry development, A&D choices. So, you can ignore it up. I mean, you can try, at least you can try to ignore many of this stuff if you play the Japanese, or maybe it's better to play the Allies if you don't have any feeling to make this micromanagement. Then play the Allies, because the Allies are simple, they just get everything for free, you only must transport it, and with the Japanese you must think much more. And again, I think the first 6 months you can even play the Japanese completely out of the box, do whatever you want. But after 6 months we will realize more and more where's your limitation. And I think the limitation for dojos are so far that is pilots cannot take off fast enough, then my pilots bring them back to Earth. I think this was at the end a successful sweep. Maybe today we get a new ace. But to be honest, I'm not sure if an ace pilot have any, if we get any bonus skill points, or if it's really only a title. So far I only know if you make a kill you get, I think, experience bonus. Maybe 1 kill, 1 XP point, or maybe the chance to get an XP point. For sure it is always good to have more kills. But if we can get here any crazy kill counts for any pilot, like in the east, at the east front, the German pilots with 100, 200 kills, I don't know if we ever can expect like this here. Uh-oh. Looks like that our zeros are just running out of gas. Yeah. Yeah. So we fail to clean Dojo's interceptors completely, but we can say looks like we killed 10 of them, and then we had to turn around. Not bad. Even if we cannot call ourselves to be victory here, because we had to return to our carrier, but at the end the suffering Dojo just had to handle was, I think, I don't know, if this ever happened to my air wing, I will be normally question the air marshal what you have done, or of course most of the time you must also question yourself if you make something wrong. This is a more equal battle. I mean, from technical point of view, these airplanes are really equal, and here it's only the question who has the better skills, the Oscar fighter pilots or Dojo's Flying Tigers. And the advantage is, of course, that if Dojo's air wings or Flying Tigers gets damaged or even gets destroyed, at least 50% I think of the pilots can always jump out of the airplane and fight another day. And if our Oscar must return to base or gets destroyed, there's a high risk that we not only losing the airframe, that we also lost the pilot. Of course, if you strike, you take the risk, and the defender can stay in a better position from the point of view of pilots. But I mean, he must defend or he must give up. If he don't defend, then he give up. If he don't bring his fighters up, then I will come with more bombers. If he come with enough bombers, then his airfield is damaged, and then he have no choice but to fight. So our sweep was successful, but we not really killed much. Official nothing. Yes. Nothing? And again, nothing. Maybe this is one of the last units. You can see now 5 destroyed, nothing more disabled. So maybe this unit is now nearly near the end. More bombardment. Sometimes successful, sometimes less successful. But always experience. This is Dojo's big army running west direction of Chongqing. Maybe try to take the mountains. We will see if we intercept them or if we let them run. Always keep in mind, every Japanese unit gets destroyed is coming back with 25% after 3 months. So from some certain point of view, it's maybe better not to destroy a complete core. Just simply crush them and let them escape, because then he needs to use reinforcement unit to build up the core unit. But at the end, after the unit gets destroyed, 3 months, he has nothing. So 3 months is normally, I think, enough time to make a decision and conquer at least a big part of China. Okay, we can see that the air defense of Rangoon is now at the limit. There's not more much left. Yeah, we lost 1 bomber, but I think this is normal. This we must accept. But we still don't really bring much damage to the airbase. Not enough. Far not enough. Of course, Rangoon have a lot of flag power, so we cannot go too low. Lower will be we increase our hit chance, but if we're losing here 2 or 3 bombers each attempt, then I don't know if I really want to do this. And the Air Force can never really conquer the base, so we want only normally drive Dojo's air wings out, and we must wait that after we took Singapore, that our army arrives to take them. And this is maybe also now the first time that we can see that there is some counter attack from Dojo. I think this is really the first time that he used B-17 bombers to attack us. Not that it really have any use, but... And you can here see 2 things. First, he coming in the standard attack altitude, but he used only half load. So normally the bomber can take 8 bombs in normal range, but he used extended range. So he's at his limit. Normally this will increase the fatigue and the damage to the airplane. If you do this for a long time, always extended air attacks, his airplanes will go for maintenance much quicker. And out of this also you will have more higher operation losses. Okay, the first sweep with Sydney, we killed 10 enemy fighters, and now this is the first sweep of Brisbane. Here we also have the P-40E Warhawks, and we can see the first fireball. and the first have to return. He's still diving on the enemy. And the next fireball. Our pilots are happy. And the children down in the Brisbane city are also happy. They can see the firework at daytime. The only one is maybe not happy is a pilot crashing to the ground and Dojo counting up his dead pilots. But that is none of my business. I only serve the Emperor. And I try to bring peace, justice and order back to Asia. Last turn the sweep of Sydney was maybe not perfectly but still okay. Today it looks even better. At the end of the turn we can count up what is the kill ratio, but so far I think this looks nice. Yeah, there was simply nothing can stop us. Officially we kill only 4, but we lost nothing. Then even if we lose nothing and kill 4, it's okay. Now the afternoon. So this is a Dornier seaplane patrol skill. So Dojo have still some scout airplanes in the Dutch islands. We will still see most of our navy operations, but if you know, I mean Dojo maybe know what is coming, but he have not more much left, or maybe he have already nothing more left to react to our operations. So afternoon was very quiet. Means most of the bombers or all the bombers was active in the morning, and then they are not active in the afternoon. And from the Navy point of view, it looks like no Navy engagement at all. Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, this is now this I don't know, trapped Chinese army. Dojo give up his city and try to take our city. Then half on the way he turn around and try to escape to north, take the pass in the mountains. But if you control the highway, if you control the skies, he simply cannot run away. So this army is now already also at the... It's a walking shell, but maybe 80% is already destroyed or more. So we have a 3-1 kill. This is always okay. 3-1, this looks professional, fine, nothing crazy. We can see it's also the kill ratio is nearly 1-3. but you must always keep in mind that we lost 3 destroyed fighting squads. The rest is only disabled. Bring it back to the base, wait 2-3 turns, and 90% of this is back. And everything what is destroyed you really must rebuild, and you have a limitation rebuild units per turn. I mean, so, and you can see destroyed. So this is a good result. And this is now at the end. Normally I want first rest, but our units had normally still enough morale, and the fatigue was not too big. So I say, okay, I risk now to attack immediately without resting day and make a delivery attack. Because there was not so much left. Normally it's a question of morale. How easily Dojo's forces will throw away their weapons and give up simply. And we can see that we don't conquer Singapore. We had a 2-1 assault. Last time we had a 3-1, so it's not so successful. The Dojo had a fort level 1, but we bring it back to 0. But from 0 it's jumped easily up back to 1, so this is always... we had 2,000, Dojo lost nearly 3,000, and you can see again, we not really lost units, they are only disabled. And Dojo really losing units, and 1 unit is completely destroyed. So a tactical victory, but still we don't be the owner of Singapore. We still must wait. This is only some small base with no real value. And there's no real fighting. And this is the last of this British, Malayan, Indish, whatever, brigade, whatever. The last jungle guy, we bomb him non-stop. He still don't want to give up. He still fight, but also here we can say 3-1 kill ratio. And I have still some guys left, but they only can defend, they cannot more attack. There is no attack value left. Okay, the air war for our Zero fighters was very successful. The land battle in China was successful. The land battle in Malaysia was only tactical point of view, yeah, successful, but the big picture is can be better, but maybe tomorrow. Night time again. So it is now 25th January 1942. Okay, we had minesweeping, but there was no mines more in Balikpapan, so Balikpapan harbor is now clean of mines. I mean, at the end of this turn, I can now bring in equipment to rebuild and repair everything, and build up an airport that we can use torpedo bombers out of the base. But normally I don't think that there's normally more the bigger use for it, but it will be a typical air base. Bring some long distance navy bombers, some fighters, some recon planes, and just simply make sure that there can be no allied navy forces more nearby without the fear of a torpedo attack. Yeah, this is submarine hunting, but Japan really lack 2 things. submarine equipment or submarine hunting equipment and radar and submarine hunting. This is on my wish list, but I don't know if I don't think that before end of 42 we really get a good radar and the better submarine equipment we can get around you can say maybe April 42. So 2-3 months, and our destroyers, they have at least equipment can also attack in deep water. Now we can only normally only attack in shallow water like now. And we make some hits, but it's still not enough. Even in shallow water, it's not that we don't make any hits, but most of our hits are just simply not strong enough. It's hard to make a hit, and if you have a hit, normally a hit must make real damage, but often we do a lot of small knocking the hull outside, but so we must do this again and again and again to be sometimes lucky. But if we turn the table, so far we lost no submarine. We only lost this 5 mini submarines, but these mini submarines, they have no use, so I not really count them. We had I think 3 or 4 damaged submarines, but so far all of them can arrive at port and repaired, and after 1 or 2 weeks normally they are back ready for duty. Okay. This is now the 1-point ship. Try, but oh. You can see that the carrier fleet now moves north, already on the way back to direction Truk. Okay. A new day, a new raid in the skies of Rangoon, a new attempt of our Oscar pilots of the Imperial Japanese Army Air Force to clean up this Dutch, American, Chinese fighters. I mean, officially they are Chinese Air Force. You can see still here this white and blue logo. So this is a national Chinese emblem. So they're fighting for Chiang Kai-shek. The guy later must escape to Taiwan and be the first president of Taiwan. Of course, on paper he was a president, in reality he was a dictator, but that's another story for another day. And in reality, don't forget, I mean, these are American airplanes with American pilots, so they're only in the name Chinese. The only problem, I really don't know how is this with the HQ working. If this unit simply can stay here, but they don't get the higher HQ bonus, or if you can maybe link this air wings to the local British air HQ. This I don't know. You can ask this Dojo. Maybe this air wing HQ stuff and restriction. This is for the Japanese. It is not so big a trouble. Some stuff you cannot get out of Taiwan. Some stuff you cannot get out of Japan. But most is flexible, I would say. But I also would say that Japan still have not enough. So, of course, if you don't have so much, then you must be flexible. If you have enough, then you don't must be flexible more. Bombardment! Normally I would have information that we get a counter, how many killed soldiers per day or per turn or in total. But this kind of information simply the game cannot tell you. You normally must write it down every time, but oh, here we had now somehow an accident that one of our Oscars gets really killed and we not kill the enemy. Can happen. Maybe our guys was just not more looking around, because if 10 turns nothing happened, then he gets tired, don't pay attention more, and then you're dead if you're a fighter pilot. Okay, but we can also see that this is now the strike on Rangoon airport, and there's nothing more in the air. And because there's no one coming up, we can kill one on the ground and we damage two, and we get now more hits. This is, I think, always if there's a bombing strike and there's no enemy fighter in the air, then our bombers can always go with max efficiency. If there is a enemy fighter in the air, it's already reduced the efficiency of the airstrike. And I think then it's also the next level. If your escort fighters can defeat the enemy interceptors, and then the bombers still can run with high efficiency but less. Then the next level will be if any interceptors can reach the bombers and attack the bombers, then the bombers also will have lower efficiency. And the worst case is that if the enemy interceptors are too strong, then the bombers must break the attack. And I think these are the 4 or 5 different levels of efficiency of a bombing strike. And this is only one case, and there's also weather and luck and skills and how in which altitude you fly. So this is the game, a little complicated. You can say it is complicated, or you can simply say it's fun to watch. Okay, here we see out of Colombo, you can see the small line that we know. In that point we realize there's an attack coming, and this is always a line. A longer line means that the unit have more reaction time. And now here's some wildebeest, and they try to bomb us. They don't use torpedoes, and they're making one bomb hit. So we kill one enemy by this flak. One of our battleships get a one hit, but it's only a 500 pound, so 250 kilo. And this is normally simply a battleship. If it's a true battleship, not a battle cruiser with a thin deck armor, then normally these bombs will bounce up and the damage will be, maybe the battleship not really realize that there was something. Maybe the color will crack. like this. This is maybe 1, 2, 3 days in the shipyard and then it's done. Okay, the afternoon attack. Bad weather. Okay, they're coming again. Again, no hit, and we damage one. Maybe we are lucky this guy will not go back, and then we kill a bomber. Torpedo bomber. I don't know why they don't use torpedoes. I don't know, maybe the range was out of range, or Dojo don't had torpedoes ready. A little strange. Okay. No air battle in Brisbane more, maybe bad weather, I don't know. Okay, this is Dutch sub again. And our local minesweeper. And making again 3 hits. But the damage is simply, I think, only a little here, a little there. But this is the end of the day. Oh, it's the land war? Ah yeah, normally we must have a land war now. So the second battle of Singapore. Or the third. Ah, but first we cross near Nanyang, the river here. We move, I don't know more, but there was a battle here nearby, and then Dojo escaped over the river, and I simply say, okay, you can try to run, but I'm faster. And I cross now the river here to more or less make sure that this Chinese army, you can see they're intact. This unit have not so much, and these 2 units are not at the full power, but normally at least 3 corps, they have nearly full power, and I simply won't crash them again. And that maybe I cannot destroy these units, but there are simply nothing left. And that he normally must bring them back to some big city and let them rest for 1 month, that they can operate again. And we can see again that the Chinese cannot hold the ground. And they're escaping in the mountains. This is no hex I would normally not more go. There's no road. Before I arrive there, he maybe can already escape, and if I won't stay here, then I stay in no man's land, and it's hard for me to supply a big army. So I would say, okay, you run, then run. You want to run in the mountains, then stay in the mountains. You can see the values are fine. You can see Dojo's army simply cannot fight with us. The losses are a little high. 134 destroyed spots are high. 6,500 guys lost. I mean, the rest is not. It's only this counter is a little high. Normally, I would expect like 50 maybe or 30 destroyed and 500 disabled. But in this case, we had a lot of destroyed. This is I think simply because it's a shock attack. You risk simply that more is destroyed. But we kill still roughly 1 to 5. And 134 destroyed and 745 is still the other number. And we really only lost the fighting squads and the rest is all okay. And he lost also a lot of support units and a lot of guns. And one thing, China can really not support a lot of guns. For China, the biggest issue is normally supplies and guns. Okay, this was again a victory. Now the third battle of Singapore. There's less and less left what want and can fight. But on the other hand, our units are also tired. And we can see the first battle was 3-1, the second battle 2-1, and now it's 1-1. So our units are simply tired. And we have still much, we can see nearly 10 times the base power. But the check if the unit is ready to fight is failing. Most of the units simply cannot, they're tired. And so they will not take part of the attack, and then the defense is much easier to have a successful check if the unit will defend. And out of this is disruption. You can see we must rest first. We kill him 2-1. I mean, it's not terribly bad, and we kill 2 of his units. They are completely destroyed, but I would now say better rest 1 or 2 turns and then clean up. Like here is also now a clean up operation maybe. Nope, he still don't want to give up. But we lost nothing and he lost 105 guys, so maybe next turn. Okay, January 26, 1942. Oh, let's see what is air operation. We can see 22 dead for Dojo, 3 for Japan, 1 destroyer on the field to 0, flag 1-1, and operation loss is also 4-2. So this looks nice. And here also the game say 28-6. I mean that is good. And Dojo lost in total 21 Warhawks. We lost 4 Oscars, okay. 3 Flying Tigers, and then the rest is only 1 of our bombers, 1 scout plane. Don't ask me what is this, I don't know. And this is the one destroyed by flag, the torpedo bomber near Ceylon. Okay. Air war successful. Navy war. Official, we sunk a submarine, and it's a good submarine with 11 points. I don't think there's much better points. I don't know if there's maybe a maximum of 12 points is the biggest submarine. So if this is really dead, then I will be happy. The Dutch submarines are normally good. They have good torpedoes and enough torpedoes. You can see that I don't know how they can transport so many torpedoes in this small submarine. But 20 torpedoes, backup torpedoes, this looks crazy. But in total, it is a failure of our submarine and our other units. Every turn we don't sink at least I would say 30 or 40 points of cargo. I expect that Dojo can get every turn, I mean 2 days, 30 or 40 points cargo backup shipping. So his industry will ramp up. If we don't think this points per turn, then Dojo will get more and more and more and more. Yeah. Okay. This is the situation now. We just had here this big battle and the Chinese forces run away. Now I will normally bring back this army to stop this army. This is the next Chinese army coming here to maybe take Nanyang to break the siege. So I must now rush back. So forward, backward, forward, backward. I have here also my second army coming up to intercept here and crash this unit. This is only a small army, but I try to just catch them and then also throw them on the other side of the river. And with our army in Xi'an resting, but I think they will now move north to catch this Dojo Chinese army to get rid of them. Maybe we'll go to Jinan, but I'm not so sure. Maybe I just simply stay here and starve them out. My army is not crazy strong, not bad, but we're lacking supplies. We have supply issues, so I maybe must wait till I get more supplies. If I go now in, I risk that I run out of supplies, and then this can be a very long battle. So why I won't do this? Here in the source, we just destroyed this one army and they escaped to the north. Now they're in the mountains. Also, I will not go in the mountains. With big armies, it's if you go to mountains without a road, without highway connection, you will suffer simply a lot because you don't get the supplies in. So you must, if you want to have a big army, you must stick to the roads. If you have small armies without a lot of equipment like the Chinese armies, they're 90% manpower. So I think they can go much easier to the mountains and survive. If you have heavy equipment, I don't know how much the game really simulates this, but I simply say if you have high equipment or a lot of equipment, support equipment, it's for you much more complicated to enter a mount hex and survive and maintenance this army. Okay, it's normally nearly every engagement in China was a success. The biggest problem is only there are so many Chinese. Even if we kill so many of them, like in Russia, you are not sure if you can kill fast enough that this really lower the enemy power. Or if what we kill here, Dojo get day by day back in Chongqing. I'm not so sure, but I try simply to get this done and to get this done and also get this done here, so that we simply can say this river, okay, maybe everything in this pocket is Chinese and the rest is all Japanese, because I normally really need this city here. And here is also more minerals in the north. Wait, here, this city I also need. I need this in the north or West China to support the mainland Chinese industry with more oil, because I have here industry centers and they're ramping up, but they're needing oil. So, or I must ship the oil from Japan or from Indochina here. But I normally don't want to do this so much. And this is now situation of Rangoon. We don't really make damage to the airport, but we lower Dojo's air wings, so it needs time, but slowly, normally we will be the masters of the airspace of Rangoon. The operation in Singapore was again not a real success, but also not a complete disaster, something between. Now we have to wait one turn, maybe even 2 turns, and then take Singapore. It's 26, so maybe at 30th of January, so next turn I will maybe attack so that I still can take Singapore at the end of the month. And similar, the same actions here in the Philippines. We're walking now in Manila, Bataan. And if we're lucky, we can take Bataan in the first attempt. If not, then we maybe must starve a little Dojo's forces more out. We will see. Yeah, but because Dojo do normally nothing, only try to manage his stuff. The only one is active with me. I cannot explain too much. Yeah, here. Our battleship. And then tell me where's the bomb pit. The Nagato had no bomb pit. You can see this is fine. And they have 2 engine damage because of simply only running the engines. And Yuga have a bomb pit, but I don't know if this is system damage and this engine damage can be normal damage. So I don't know if the bomb really did anything, or only just plop, fall down to the water and done. Anyway, I'm not unhappy about this, but you can see the submarine, the destroyer, he had no engagement, but simply only running the destroyer for distance will damage the engines. It's time to go back and go back to Georgetown, and then from Georgetown go to Singapore. We still need the shipyard of Singapore. This we really need. And because we don't have Singapore or second carrier fleet, we must still wait and again. So like last time, we need Singapore, everything wait for Singapore. Okay, but here we were successful. We take it. Now we must repair it. But we can only repair if we have at least 10,000 supplies. So I'm still waiting that I get more supplies in. But I can first get supplies in after we just clean the mines. So now the mines are cleaned up. So now I can bring my transport force with a little supplies, not too many supplies, but I simply will organize more supplies from Tarakan because here is already everything repaired, and now we only finish the construction. Port 4 and airfield maybe also 4. Is I think enough. 4 and 4 is always enough normally. Yeah, okay. Anything else? Yeah, the carrier. Here. The first carrier fleet. I think we had the first day we had an airstrike on Brisbane. I don't know if there's a second airstrike. But we are now simply, we're still in range, but now there will be no more additional air fight in Australia. We just go back, and I think I will reroute the unit that we maybe stay here, and then we make a 1 strike for Port Moresby. I don't expect here too much because my submarines normally must intercept most of the stuff, go to Port Moresby, and there was only small cargo ships coming, so he can maybe fly stuff in, and he maybe can also bring airplanes here, but cargo shipping, I don't know. We will see sooner or later. But we must wait for the carrier fleet come back, fix Truk, get new torpedoes, be ready. Then we must normally bomb Port Moresby, that there's simply nothing more can intercept our landing fleet. But this needs 1 or 2 weeks more. And this is a lot of micromanagement. Really here so many base forces you normally don't need, like this base forces. You can keep them here, but for what? I don't need this. I have here, this is my submarine harbor and destroyer harbor and my port. I try to get it up to a 5, but this is slowly. And here's my airport. And I only need these 2 base. And the rest here, all this island change, they have base forces. This is heavy installed, so you cannot bring away. This is guns. But you have base forces, and normally I always try to pick them up, and I bring maybe a little more here, because so far I have aviation support of 100 is normally enough, but maybe a little more I can bring here. Always keep in mind this maximum 6,000, because they are really small islands, and the rest of this stuff I all bring to Rabaul to get Rabaul to 7-7, and after I'm done with Rabaul I can bring it down the line. But this is micromanagement. You must manage this. If you ignore this, everything gets slow. You can wait, then you must maybe wait 1 or 2 weeks longer before you're ready in Rabaul. But why I would do this, I really try to organize always that I have the engineers where I need them. I don't need engineers here. I will not build here anything more. So these units are not terribly great, but they bring support. They bring aviation support, they have navy support, so they will help to unload and load ships. The support is important to reinforce and rebuild units if they are disabled or whatever. This will help to run more airplanes, and then you have all this other stuff. Anti-aircraft guns, light and middle or small, some artillery stuff. It's simply a lot of these base forces together are the difference between successful and construction something fast and hold the line and repair stuff, and you need this. Okay, maybe one topic I can shortly explain. It's a little complicated for some people, but let me check, I need some. Wait, I thought I have some here. Okay, let me do this better with active shift. Okay, because the upgrade stuff. I also don't realize it at the beginning, but you can normally always convert ships, and let's see here. Yeah. You have at the beginning, and you also get still more of these ships, but I would normally try to bring all your light cargo ships with a speed of 10 to one big harbor, wherever they. You can take Tokyo or somewhere, but some harbor with enough capacity, and maybe also with a shipyard. Bring them together, because they're normally all slow and they don't have much capacity, and normally they are not really useful. Because you can see they have a cargo capacity of 170. This is what you want with this. But there is some use of these ships. They have only a victory value of 1, but you can do something out of this. The cargo ship itself is useless, I would say. But you have the choice to convert them. Normally I choose only 2 options, because you have normally enough AMC local minesweepers. I think you normally have at the start already enough. You can build a little of these ships, but you don't need too many of this. In one harbor, and even with a big harbor, 1 of this in every big port is enough, and you're fine. You don't need in every port, but every important port need 1. Then you have this ACMs, this mine layer tenders. They are responsible for this, to maintenance your defense mines. 1 AMC handle 150 mines, so 2 are enough for up to 300 mines to keep them. The only point is, if you don't have AMCs and in a port of your own, I think it was 1% lost mines per day. So if we have 300 mines, we will lose every day 3 mines. I think it was 1%. if it's a port. And I think if it's shallow water, but not a base, I think this is still a base. I'm not so sure if this is now a base or not, but this will be a base. Like over here, this is shallow water. Then I think the lost ratio is 5%. And in deep water it was already 10% or even more, but I think so. So 1% for harbor, 5% for shallow water, and I think 10% for deep water per day. Loss of mines only by, they're getting old, they're defects and they're drifting away. But if you have these AMCs, then you will not lose mines. The problem, at least with Japan, I don't know America, the allies, the production of mines are not so great. Of course, the industry produces mines every turn, but far not enough to ignore this issue. And you have a lot of bases coming under your control. You won't have mines in Singapore. You need mines in Saigon. You need mines in Bangkok. You need mines in Hong Kong. You need mines in Manila. And every port have oil. Tarakan, Balikpapan, and even maybe the smaller islands, they have oil here. I don't know, it is up to you. But normally all these bigger ports, Miri, also Miri for sure, have a lot of oil if it's done. You need mines. And I would say 150 is the minimum, but maybe 300 is okay. I don't know if it makes sense to put much more mines. 450 I would say is the maximum. I don't think that there's a much a big impact more mines than 450. When 450 is really a lot. 350 I would say is normally enough to have to give the opponent a high risk. If you bring in something in like submarines or battleships, that there is a damage risk. And at the start of the game, you just simply have not enough of this ACMs. So I would suggest to convert not too many, but maybe 10 up to 20, but I would also not say more of these 1-point ships to an ACM. You just tick this. This is now under duty, so you cannot do this, but you just say, I want an ACM, and then you normally, there's a button you can say agree. Then you can see that it's, I don't know how much heavy industry points it consumes, I don't know. But you can see, it don't need a shipyard, it need only 15 days and then it's done. And then you have this ship. Then this small light cargo ship will change to a ACM. And then this is a tender. And this game, at least this game, say simply it's a tender, and every tender has a capacity to make 150 mines. So you can also make these ACMs out of big ships, but there's an advantage for this. Because these ACMs have only one duty, they stay in the harbor. They're inactive. They only simply stay there and sitting there, and they consume a little supplies, but fuel, I don't know if they consume fuel or supplies now, but they will normally not running duty active somewhere. So this is normally the first stuff I would say. You can change the shitty cargo ships. Then this is the opposite. This is this mine layer. You can see this, they can carry 20 mines, but normally you have enough mine layers. You have enough mine layers, but you never have enough mines. So why I won't build more mine layers? Because a mine layer will not produce mines. They only can use mines. But if you don't have mines, a mine layer have no value more for me. So I would say you don't need this. And this is the local minesweeper. You have enough, you don't need this. And then what is left is this. And this is a patrol boat. And don't expect too much. It's a shitty mini cargo ship. You add an 8 centimeter gun in front, you can see here. Some heavy machine guns, But the most important is you have some depth chargers. So this ship have some anti-submarine abilities. And it have an 8 centimeter gun. It's enough to sink a submarine in surface combat. A submarine cannot attack this ship in surface combat. It only can try to make a torpedo attack. And if the torpedo attack was not successful, the ship always try to make a counter strike. And I would simply say, but you must keep in mind, if you want to make out of this a patrol boat, then you must be in a harbor with a shipyard. So this is why I would say find a harbor with big shipyard capacity. Then you also let it rebuild. It needs 3 weeks. And a little shipyard capacity, and then it's done. You can see if the conversion is complete. The ship is complete, but it has some damage. So you need not only need 21 days. You need a little more to fix this. But I think maybe 25 days and everything is done. And it's still only a 1-point victory ship. And this ship, this kind of ships I would always use to run here in this area. They are not great for sub-hunting, but they have abilities. They are no frontline units. I mean, never try to use this to do something stupid in the... I mean, you can maybe say, oh, let's run this ships west coast or east coast of Australia and have a carrier fleet behind them, and if Dojo or someone come out with a carrier with some other units, with battleships, destroyers, whatever, and they attack this patrol boat, then your carrier can make a navy's attack. You can maybe do this, but I would say this is gamey. I would simply say these patrol boats are simply enough to control water. And normally if they find something, normally whatever they will find, they will never strong if they don't fight with a submarine. But everything else in a submarine is normally stronger. But they still have activity, they have action. You will get a feedback. You will know, oh, there is something. And you lose a 1-point ship. Yeah, 1 point is nothing. But you know, okay, there's a cruiser formation, there's a destroyer formation, you know what kind of ships they are, and then you can react. But they are, of course, really only support units. So I will use them here always in the area where I will not expect the enemy, but where the enemy can be. Also here, all this area, after you clean up, you use these 1-point ships to clean up. You have this other units, these sub chasers. They're similar. Yeah. You also have these guys, and you can see they have much better submarine hunting abilities. You can also mix up this. You can say one of these guys because they're really good for submarine hunting, and the other guy because this guy have only 40mm gun. This is an air gun, so they don't have any ability for surface engagement. But they have much higher speed, at least some of them. Normally I would say this sub-hunters, they are for purely more local, nearby a big important harbor. I would say they are better local, and the patrol boats, they are more for long distance, to control and check the big area. The sub-chasers are more for only control the road where your ships are running normally, to protect and hunt for submarines. And the other stuff is also to engage surface guys. This is my idea. Okay, and the last big point is I want to express is there's another issue, is this if we go to patrol, at the start of the game you have this stuff, a lot of stuff, sub chasers, yeah, okay, and then you have patrol ships, and You have this 11 point ships with a value of 3. Okay. They have submarine 3. Okay. They have 8 centimeter guns, similar to the 1 point ship. These guys are a little stronger. So they have 3 points. They are a little more heavy, blah blah blah. And maybe a little faster. But no big issue, I would say. That is fine for me. Then you have this 12 point guys. They have 1 victory point. So this is, I think, what we just saw. It's okay. It's okay. This is what we just saw. Blah blah blah. And then you have this 14. Speed 14. And then there's an issue. I don't know why, but this is the game. If you find a patrol ship at the beginning of the game, or maybe later you get them, patrol, speed of 14, normally I would always send them back to a port and convert them to a cargo ship. Because their victory value is 10. They are shitty submarine hunters, similar to the 1 point ship. But they have 10 point. Their value is 10. They are much bigger. They're not much faster. They have some more gun power. They have, let's say, they have 2 12 centimeter guns. That is much more firepower for surface engagement. But for submarine hunting, they're exactly the same. And still, if you have an 8 centimeter gun or have 2 12 centimeter gun, if there's an enemy destroyer, this ship have no chance. It's far too slow. They have no protection at all. So if you are not a lucky hit, a destroyer will always kill this kind of ships. And the destroyer is maximum 10 points. This guy is also 10 points. So I would say no patrol ships, no patrol boat with a speed of 14. Always bring them back to harbor. Always convert them to a cargo ship. Then you get this kind of ship. If they have a cargo capacity of 3000, have a speed of 14, this is fast for a cargo ship. It is cheap to convert. It still have enough firepower to engage every submarine in surface engagement. Of course, there's no submarine, anti-submarine stuff more, but you don't want this. And the endurance is with 6000 is okay, nothing crazy, but Japan don't need the long runners normally. So this is also for me a strategy. I don't want this guys losing in active battle, because always 10 points, 10 points, 10 points. These are simply a lot of points you can easily lose. Okay. And I don't think there's other. You can see there is only this. They have only patrol boat with speed of 14 and patrol boat with speed of 12. This has a big, and then you have some of these 11s. But 3 I would say is still acceptable. Okay, this is for today enough. I hope we can take Singapore soon. We need Singapore to get our second carrier fleet back in active duty. And we need Bataan to free up our forces here and to clean these minefields. These 2 bases are still full of American mines, but I can only clean these mines if we are owner of the hex. And I can only clean the mines in Manila after we clean this, because they are linked to each other. I cannot enter here without bypassing the American base. So, take care, see you again, bye bye.